After watching our youth destroy Ajax 5-1 midweek, we return back to Premier League duties where we play against resurgent Sunderland. A Sunderland team where we're actually level on points in the table right now, and for myself, there's a massive opportunity on the table to be able to earn this symbolic win, to get a win over Sunderland and continue our push up the table. My friends, you know what to expect. I'll go through the predictor lineup. I'll go through Maresca's key points from the presser, and I'll give you guys my prediction as well too. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's tackle the preview for our game against Sunderland. Now for Sunderland, we're playing against, I think, one of the trickiest opponents in the league this season. I've really respected what their manager's done in terms of making Sunderland more pragmatic as a team. They have some of the highest statistical numbers when it comes to things like clearances, because Sunderland have shown that they're a team that are ready to adapt to the demands and the level of the Premier League. And I feel like championship teams that adapt to this new environment and respect the fact they're up against a higher caliber of opposition, they're getting rewarded this season. And I think Sunderland statistically have had one of the best starts in the modern era for newly promoted teams, earning 14 points in the table right now. Now, they have some difficult games coming up, but they've earned most of their points already to give them that safety net in the future, right? So we're going to have a tough tense against a Sunderland team I am expecting to see using a 5 at the back. Now, traditionally, they're all about using a 4-3-3. They push their defensive line deeper. They have aerial monsters and clearance monsters at the back. They're under the leadership and stewardship of Xhaka in midfield, one of the most informed midfield players this season in the Premier League, who has given Sunderland a different touch of class. We're going to have to pay attention to this guy, right? And they look to play and find their wingers direct and wide really quickly. So this is one of those classic teams that are going to defend deep, protect themselves in the middle, and look to launch efficient counter-attacks out wide to catch the spaces in behind. We've played against this type of team all the time, and even though on paper we got the better players, we aren't able to consistently find solutions against this type of tactic. For me, until we can consistently find solutions against this type of team, this type of setup, this type of tactic, we're going to struggle to meet our lofty ambitions. I'm just keeping things real. And I think one way to maybe give us some hope in regards to being able to stifle Sunderland is containing Granit Xhaka. Now, I was reading a lot of things about him. He's signed for Sunderland. He's up the level. His leadership is out of this world. And Ballard's, who's had a really decent start to this season, even said that when Sunderland players train, they almost feel like they have to impress Xhaka. That's just how integrated this guy is in the team right now. This guy's long passes, his through balls, but most importantly, his defensive IQ. He's leading stats for like aerial clearances, reading at the game, which is not really a number, but anything that involves clearances aerially on the ground in terms of tackles, he's leading. So I think for us to kind of limit Sunderland, we have to have a man on Xhaka to limit his distribution, to try and just like disrupt how they're able to find the wingers out wide. He will be a key guy to follow. Another key guy that we need to have a plan for is Mukiele. I don't know how Sunderland pull this off. Yeah, he should be playing, you'd imagine, for maybe a better club. But this guy is one of the most informed defenders in the league, defending out wide in the books. We need our wingers to be on their A game. And for that reason, you'll see my predicted lineup. There's a few things I have to see against this type of Sunderland team because I know what to expect and how this game's going to go down. But this Sunderland team will come into this game feeling, you know what? We've done our homework. We've done our research. We've seen how Chelsea kind of struggle in this type of game. We trust ourselves at the back. Their back four partnership, Ballards, Aldrete, Mukiele, I forgot the guy on the left. The midfield's enforcement in front of them. And the striker up front in ESTEVAO, Mayenda. Guys that can hold the line. Guys that have the aerial presence, that can spearhead attacks. Listen, man, as fans, we've seen this type of tactic get too many points against us. That shouldn't be the case. So I respect Sunderland. If that's one thing you guys want to get from this preview, is the respect I have for Sunderland. Because for me, if we get a result against this team, yeah, a team in which, listen, our record against them is quite sick at home. We only lost one game against them out of 6. We've won our last 4 games I know, our last 2 games on the bounce against Sunderland. We can't forget that game where we was fighting for the league and, we allowed them to beat us right near the end. Yeah, I'll always remember Sunderland for that. Maybe that's why I respect them a bit too much. But after seeing how they've performed, seeing their aerial threat, seeing their excellent whipped first time deliveries, which are catching teams out for fun. Look how they destroyed West Ham at the start of this season. 3 goals from headers. I respect this team because on paper, they do everything that annoys us, that frustrates us, that makes our lives a little bit harder. So you've learned a bit about Sunderland. So here's the lineup I'm going to be going for because I feel like this is the best lineup to counter this Sunderland threat. And you guys, you're seeing it, man. But for myself, I need to see an offensive lineup. I have to see that. These types of games, it's about controlling the details, making things matter at the right times. Yeah, that is key. If we can get the first goal against a team like Sunderland, we give ourselves a bit extra space, a bit extra life. We kind of force Sunderland to open up a little bit. And that could help our counter-attacking game a lot more. Yeah, I think we have to be brave. We got to go for it because we have the depth of options on the bench to help us keep the leads or maybe get back in the game, which hopefully won't be the case. But for me, man, this is the best lineup at the moment for Sunderland. I think Mark Yu starts up front. The fact that he got taken off at the start of the at the end of the first half against Ajax, I think that was his reward for doing the right things. And Maresca's like, well, you've earned your place now to start the game against Sunderland. Yeah, of course he can start the game against Sunderland. For a second then I was like, oh, hold on, no. Like he's just come from there. But obviously we own the guy. It's not a loan from Sunderland. I just had a bit of a I had a bit of a brain freeze. Them boys. Apologies for that. But man, I think you right now just offers a little bit like that Liam Delap B option, someone that can harry defenders. Yeah, someone that can create space for his teammates, that can run the channels, that can just do all that annoying work against their defense. I'd like to think after being there for maybe like a month or two, he's clocked a few things about the opponents he's set to play against because he was there for a bit of time. So hopefully he's learned some type of details that can give him some advantages in that game. Let's see what happens. But listen, man, this is the attack which I think I'd be surprised Maresca uses. But for myself, I have to see these lot, man. I have to see this front three behind. I've got to see PEDRO playing as the attacking mid. And he has to be supported by ESTEVAO and GITTENS. For myself, it's about how we show quality with how we manipulate the ball in tight spaces. This front three at the moment is the best 1v1 attack that we have in the squad right now. I thought GITTENS was exceptional against Ajax. He's demonstrated that his confidence is slowly rising. Yeah, I need to see that type of footwork. I need to see that type of creativity that he brings, which he can do with his excellent deliveries that he showcased against Ajax. His ability to get to the byline. We need to create a lot of difficulty for Sunderland out wide. And I think the best way to kind of disrupt their defensive shape, their defensive structure, is to have our best, most potent 1v1 threats down either flank. It has to be that, in my opinion. It really has to give us a chance to control the game against Sunderland. That's what I need to see. So that will be GITTENS on the left, right inside of ESTEVAO, who, listen, the kid makes things happen. I mean, his ability to stop-start, how he manipulates his opponents in tight spaces, the body balance, how he can just like shift directions whilst keeping that momentum at the same time. It's a rare skill to have that blend of all these like great attacking qualities in this game. But what I love about this kid, man, is this mentality to be 18 years old. Yeah, but the hype will be against you. He experienced that at Palmeiras, where Brazilian fans were kind of extra critical if he wasn't performing or doing like the chosen boys stuff on a weekly basis. So he didn't come here to an easy environment. Us fans are some of the most ruthless fans here. It wasn't long ago, man, we're crying about why we signed GITTENS, only to do a 180 just since last week. So ESTEVAO has shown some incredible character to not only have the confidence to play and express his game, but to have the confidence to try, to do the unpredictable, to try the impossible, to just flip games by himself single-handedly. To show this at 18 is scary, man. It's not normal. And already I'm kind of getting like little vibes like Robin, Eden Hazard, like incredible young wingers who started strong and sharp instantly. And you just knew from their immediate performances what these guys was going to be about. Yeah, I think Sunderland will find it quite hard with this type of threat on the left and on the right hand side. Both guys can come in. They can go to the byline. They can combine their deliveries from stop-start positions. Yeah, they're very hard to contain, and I feel like we need to kind of put these guys at the top. Yeah, and I think the guy who can maybe make that happen is having a João Pedro, who for me, it just adds that bit of extra quality to what we do in the final third. I think he's got great decision making, but I like how he plays the game at his own pace. Do you guys see that detail where it's like he's playing the game at his own rhythm? And I've realized that it looks like he's creating this like optical illusion from doing that because he has so much confidence in his technique. He's constantly keeping the ball tight to the outside of his boot, always taking small touches. Not just like, you know what some other players do? Like they dead the ball, they look to kind of do off-body type of like movements to try and fool the opponent before they touch the ball again. No. João Pedro is always touching the ball when he's playing, and it makes him a hard guy to predict what he's going to do next because he could kind of drop his shoulder. He can do a skill, he can do a drag back, he can do so much. And I've felt for him because he's not been supported. There's been no one to play off. He's also had injuries going against him, playing through the pain, playing through the fatigue. It's not been hard, not been easy for him. So I feel like him playing the 10 role, having combinations alongside him, playing off of a Gu, I'm really excited to see what he does. And I feel like use this front three. I'm confident we can get the 3 points against Sunderland. Supporting them, of course, Enzo and Caicedo speaks for himself. Caicedo, I think, our top scorer alongside Enzo in the league with 3 goals apiece. It's mad. This team wouldn't be the same without Moises, but I'm expecting Enzo push forwards, Reece James inverting into midfield, and that back three of Jalaba in the middle, Kukurea, and Achimpong. That will kind of create that makeshift back three. Now, originally, you guys, I was going to go for Tosin in this team because I think aerially, it made a lot of sense to me to have someone that can kind of match Isidore. The rare offensive threats that will come from Sunderland, most times they are going to be coming from aerial deliveries and balls into the box. So having someone who can help us from defending set pieces, defending those open play crosses into our box could help. But equally at the same time, I feel like maybe we got to adjust our technique. You know, we got the pace to match their counter-attacking threat. We need to be strong enough to limit how often Sunderland can pump crosses in the box. That's why I want us to approach this game from a defensive point of view. Don't react to the crosses. Be proactive. Hence why I've gone for this lineup, because if we need support out wides, Kuku, Achimpong can offer that. We got recovery pace for days with this back three. And listen, these guys are also no slouches with aerial balls too. So this is my lineup for Sunderland. Fingers crossed, I'm praying to see this. We got to go all out attack. We have to really take the game to them and make things very difficult, you guys. So right now, I'm going to end things by discussing very quickly one of the key big things we learned from Enzo Maresca's press conference. And we have some really positive news to report, my friends. And that news is Liam Delap should be back in time for our next game against Wolves. That is big news to have. He's come back sooner than expected. He's already done his first training session back. I think that'll be a lovely addition to have in this team. Don't expect to see him tomorrow, but this guy is going to be here soon come. And yeah, man, I really want to see that João Pedro, Liam Delap partnership that we got glimpses of against West Ham when the season started. Maresca spoke about how it was a really proud moment turning towards the youth players against Ajax. I said after the game, it was a special night for the club, for the fans, with so many young players. They are talented players. The main thing for me is to help them day by day get better and better. And if you're able to improve players, you can improve the team. So yeah, they definitely stood out. The effect of the game, and to do that so young, with the youngest squad in the Champions League. It's nuts. It definitely is nuts. In regards to Mark Yu, we got some context behind why maybe he hasn't been in the team straight away off the bat. And listen, I want to kind of preface my point by giving you guys some context. Obviously, I watched the press conference. It felt like the reporter was trying to decipher more information from Maresca. I'm explaining that because Maresca said that maybe 2 weeks ago he didn't like how Mark Yu trains. And to some of you guys, you might be thinking, well, why is Maresca going to bait out a 19-year-old like that publicly, right? That's not right. But listen, he wasn't trying to give too much away. He had to give something. That's the context to get. But it's good to know that Mark Yu had a little challenge that he had to try and get past, and he's done that. I'd love to know what he had to show. Was it his movements maybe? Because I've seen a lot of improvements in terms of how he's moving off the ball and how he's asserting himself physically. I think that's what I was really impressed with this game against Nottingham Forest. And it feels like he's learned a lot compared to what I saw from this guy from last season. So that's great to see, and I think he deserves. And obviously, for the final point, it was on ESTEVAO Willian, with Maresca saying, you know, he's heavily supported by Andre Santos, Joao Pedro, who really look after this kid. We know what he was saying after the game against Ajax. He's a player that fans pay to watch in the stadium, without a doubt. And also, he loved the moment of Enzo Fernandez passing the penalty on to ESTEVAO, because for him, it showcased the team spirit, the togetherness. I thought it was a lovely gesture from Enzo to allow ESTEVAO to have that type of moment. And for us fans, it's a good indicator that the vibes and togetherness within the squad right now in the group is up here. And that's how it has to be if you want to have any hopes of challenging to get where you have to get to, right? So, my friends, man, that's everything from the preview. My prediction tomorrow is ambitious. It's ambitious, but I don't know. I think if we use the lineup I want to see, something can happen. I'm going for a 3-1 win against Sunderland. You heard it here first. So my friends, leave your predictions below, and I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Love. Cool.